I'd like to call the order the November 7th, 2018 Lopatcong Township Council meeting to order. I would ask that everyone bow their heads for a moment of silence. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Beth.
Yes. Councilman Del Caro?
Here.
Councilman Polito?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Here.
Council President Pryor? Mayor McDougal?
Here. Need a motion to come out of executive session?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Trina?
Sure. Council was in executive session for approximately 1 hour and 5 minutes. The topics of discussion are as listed on your agenda 1 through 4. The minutes from executive session will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Thank you, Mayor.
The first thing on our list tonight is the certified tax sewer collector. We need to adopt a resolution number 18-277 and swear in Danielle Attic. But before I do that, most of you are aware at this point that we had an issue with our tax and sewer collector. Most of you, I hope, are aware of the result of that. Something that I inherited when I got here. I know the current council brought that individual in twice last year, I believe. Am I correct? For some performance issues. Some of the improprieties were caught internally. People may wonder how it went on for as long as it did, but it was caught internally finally. We are the only township of the 3 that got an unconditional resignation. Not to bash any of the other townships, but they did what they did. I was not about to give in to what we thought were some improprieties, and as it turns out, we were right. So that is behind us. Obviously, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. I'll let the state police and prosecutor's office handle it however they want to do it. That's up to them. Certainly not up to me. So that is all I would really care to say on that particular issue at this point. We will have a public comment later. If somebody wants to say something at that point, they can do that. But at this point, I'd like to have our new tax collector sworn in.
And then we'll do the resolution after.
Yep.
Right here. And then both hold the Bible for their mom. I, Danielle Attic, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments of the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of the tax and sewer collector
all the duties of the office of tax and sewer collector
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Danielle, thank you and welcome aboard. We're looking forward to working with you, as I'm sure the residents are too at this point. So, need a motion to adopt resolution number 18-277.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Well,
Yes. Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor McDougal?
Yes. Public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone in the public that has a comment on an agenda item? Seeing none, we're going to move into old business. Number 1 is to approve executive session and regular session minutes for October 3rd and October 25th, 2018.
I do have one comment on October 3rd. In the section where we discussed the basketball hoops,
Yes.
That was a summary, and I think a good summary, but there's one sentence that might read clear. It's the 12th line down. I'll just read it and then I'll give you this. A laundry list would show why the township should officially recognize the basketball courts in the street, and his concern was if there was ever an accident, town would be in a very bad position. I think we could delete the first half of that sentence. I think it just confuses things. My concern was about an accident, so if everybody agrees with that, I'd suggest that change.
Based on Joe's recommendation? We already have a motion and a second, correct?
Second.
No, I don't have a motion.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
Make the motion.
You got a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Longucci?
Yes. Number 2 is to authorize Mayor Mengucci to execute TWA permit application.
Oh, wait a minute.
Whoops.
I just, October 25th, real quick. I didn't realize we were doing both together. Under business, you mentioned the resignation, and it says the resignation should be
I'll put an
reads.
S on
It's a
that.
de minimis.
Yep. Thank you.
That's de minimis, so probably just fix it. Right?
It's okay. Number 2, authorize Mayor Mengucci to execute the TWA permit application to the DEP for the I-78 Logistics Park, Phillipsburg Urban Renewal LLC. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
I do have a question. Paul, what was the allocation just for Lopat? TWA discussed the whole thing.
You're talking about, I know they had all the buildings cobbled into the
Yes,
application.
I want to know the allocation we were talking about just for Lopat.
I don't have that with me right now. It's considerably less than the, what was presented.
That's
in
the only reason I
application.
bring it up, is we've discussed available flows in the past, and this is going to be well under what we had reserved for that site.
It will be.
Yeah. So we just keep that in mind, but we can go ahead and pass this.
All right. Beth?
Okay, Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Longucci?
Yes. Number 3 is Employee Policy and Procedures Manual, update to add the New Jersey Earned Sick Leave Act and other discrepancies?
Any other
Any of
discussion?
those discrepancies, okay, good. Can you explain that a little bit, Beth? Maybe to all of us in the audience?
Oh, sure. So Governor, I think it was Governor Murphy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Governor Murphy.
Signed a bill, it's called the New Jersey Earned Sick Leave Act, which provides for any business in the state of New Jersey and public agencies to provide sick time to all of their employees. So typically, you know, you have policies for full-time people, but part-time people, some don't have policies, but now we have to develop a policy, and that policy says for every 30 hours that a person works, they will get 1 hour of sick time. And they are eligible to take that sick time after 120 days of working. And we have to, the Department of Labor makes us track that because you can earn up to 40 hours in 1 year, and you can carry it over for 1 year, but anything over 40 hours from the second year on, you're not eligible to take that. But they're going to be labeled ghost hours, and we have to keep a record of it. So it's going to be a big task, you know, and we're just a small town with not so many employees, but we have a lot of part-time employees. In fact, you know, we have seasonal employees because we operate a pool, so that sick time is eligible to our lifeguards and anyone who, you know, works in our recreation program, even our council. They're employees of the town, so they will earn sick leave. I'm sure they're not going to take it.
I got a cough coming on right now.
So, you know, there's many regulations that New Jersey puts into place all the time, and it makes our jobs, you know, that much more difficult. So, but that's what that's all
It
about.
doesn't apply to most of the full-time, in the building employees that you think of, because they already have sick leave.
Right.
That is over and above this. So in most towns, it applies to 1 or 2 people. In Lopatcong, because you have a significant number of summer staff, seasonal staff, snowplow,
Yep, yep.
things like that, they, the guy who helps mows the fields, and, in the summertime, Brian brings on, he applies, so, it will be a lot of tracking for Beth as the administrator to.
Yeah, and I know that there's a comment period that's taking place from October 29th up until sometime in February of next year, and I'm just hoping that they recognize some of the issues that it's going to present, to other businesses and us as well, and things change a little, so.
Okay. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Plato?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mizucci?
Yes. Under new business, number 1 is the best practices checklist. Need a motion to open it up to a public hearing? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, questions, comments? Do you even know what it is? You want to give us
Oh,
just a brief
okay.
explanation on that?
Yes, so the best practices checklist is, it's a number of questions, and the state puts this out. I mean, they want to know what we're doing, so they'll, as far as with, questions with regard to our budget, our, our insurance policies, our payroll policies, and the questions can differ, from year to year, and the amount of those questions can differ. I think there's over 60 questions this year. Last year there was 25. The year before that, I think there was 50. But, and according to how you score is how the state will provide you with, what am I looking for the word?
Your money.
Yeah. They
So-
provide us so much money,
The state has always used this as a way to force towns to do what they think is right.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, the hot topic was longevity. So they asked you a question about longevity. If you couldn't answer yes, they take points away, and if you don't get enough points, they take your state aid. So, this year is exceptionally difficult because they ask very unusual questions. One starts out with, other states such as California and Florida have enacted a property assessed clean energy PACE legislation. It goes on to explain it, and then it says, is this something your municipality would take advantage of? Well, how the heck would we know? We don't know what the program is. But that's the question. So they need you to answer. And you're only allowed to answer yes, no, or prospective, meaning we're going to do it. So by next year, you better do it, because when you get to the question, if you don't answer yes, that you did it, you're in trouble. Does your municipality own any electric vehicles? I think it's very clear that it's coming from this current administration in the governor's office. So the questions are steered. Last couple years, they were very financially related. They wanted us to get rid of longevity. They wanted us to do certain things with shared services and things like that. And this year, it's going a little bit in a different direction. But it's difficult for municipalities in Warren County to answer these questions, because these questions are one size fits all. Newark is getting the same questions Lopatcong is getting. Camden is getting the same questions. And it's hard to answer questions when your municipality is this small and you have this few employees. So I know that Beth and the CFO's office does a great job to answer these as best they can and do anything they can to put perspective and get it done by the end of the year, so you can get every dollar that you deserve.
Yeah, Katrina, I think the one clarification is you don't lose all the state money as your score goes down. They reduce it by a percentage.
Correct.
And as I recall, Beth, we've never had a reduction.
We always get 100%.
We always get 100, so.
Well, thank you, because I know I got nothing to do with that. So. Questions, comments, folks? If not, I'll have a motion to close public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to act?
You don't
have to act on it? Okay, good. The number 2, the Jeep Willys brush truck, request to purchase from fire chief. Who wants to purchase it?
Pardon me?
Yes, the fire department wants to purchase it, right?
Yeah, this, this Jeep belonged to Fire Number 2
Yep.
over the years, and at one point, they wanted to sell it. So, and it's the cutest little thing, and it's, it's ages and ages old.
It's won a lot of trophies and parades.
Yeah, because it's adorable.
Yes.
And so we didn't want to see it go to any old person because it's part of our history here in Lopatcong. So Joe and I, we're in favor of, keeping, purchasing it, and we have it here in the town. But we're frankly not able to, Brian, sitting down in the garage.
I don't have a place to house it.
He doesn't have a place to house it.
I don't have a...
And the gentleman who, I guess, redesigned the inside of it, has all those original parts, and now they would like to buy it back, restore it to its original glory, and, so they would pay us what we paid for it. And this is Delaware Park now, this isn't, Strikers.
I know over the years, the members from Station 2 put a lot of hours in building the engine, doing the woodwork on the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
Where's Delaware Park gonna put it?
Well, we don't have, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're going to
I
house
don't-
it or not.
I don't object to them buying it back, but, so I guess we sell it back to them and then let them worry about where they put it?
Yeah, we can't take care of it, so he wouldn't make this offer if he didn't want to take care of it. My question for Katrina is disposal of property. Can we just accept an individual offer like this?
So it's the actual fire department purchasing it, not...
It's an individual, isn't it, Beth?
It's a request of
Well,
purchase from the
yes,
fire
when I asked him for further information, it appears that it's one of the individuals that really would like to, have it. So it would actually, possibility of leaving, our hands, so.
It's a pri-
Yeah, if it was
private citizen, should
if
be-
it was a fire department, there's an exception that we can, there's certain nonprofit organizations that have an exception from, but if it's a private individual, we'd have to bid it out.
Yep.
So maybe they want to
Maybe they want to rethink that, you know what I mean?
If
I
it
can go
comes from
back
the
to
fire
them.
department directly.
I would like it to stay, within the town or the fire company, because, there's a lot of history there.
On this.
You just want to table it till next month?
Yes.
Okay. We need a motion to table it?
Motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second on it?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? All right, number 3 is to appoint Captain DeVos as a Class 4 member of the Planning Board for an unexpired term of 12/31/19. Is that not my appointment?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Okay. Well, then, she's on. Fair enough? All right, the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull out of the consent agenda?
I just have a question. What
ahead.
is number 1?
The Phillipsburg School District is having their annual fireworks at the new high school site. They will have that in the retention pond to the left of our field house in Lopat, behind what we refer to in Phillipsburg as the Pat Barn. I hesitate to speak on Phillipsburg business because I'm the director of facilities over there, but in order to give you clarification, that's where it's going to be held. The stadium will be under renovations for a turf field at that point, so that's out.
We don't have any objections. I'm just curious why they need a resolution of support.
They've always done that
Yeah.
with Phillipsburg, so it's just something we felt.
All right, I'll
we
leave
need to do,
it
so.
on. It doesn't cost us anything.
Nope. Not at all. They're liable for everything, so. All right, anybody else? No? Any motion to pass the consent agenda?
I make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
I'll roll call that. Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mikucci?
Yes, council reports, Mr. Polito.
Thank you, Mayor. EDAC, there is a new business in town, Access Self Storage, had their grand opening this past Saturday. The LAA, they had asked about, at the last meeting, asked about status with the contract, which we already discussed. And they're looking to work with the Recreation Department. So when there's a Recreation Department meeting, they can let the LAA know, we can work together on some things with that. And also, congratulations to Lou and Joe. Look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Carroll.
I just have a small report. I know there's still a lot of signs out there, and they will be coming down. You know, if anybody, if we miss some, someone can pick it up and dispose of it properly, or even maybe break it down. Brian, maybe we could bring the signs down to DPW to have it properly disposed. That somebody's,
I'm gonna be not rude to you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
no, the political signs.
Talking about the
they're
political
out-
signs.
They're out there.
Well, I mean, if we can't involve the township, I'd suggest we have our phone numbers up there. If a sign is not picked up, call either myself or Lou and we'll come get it. We'll have somebody get
Yeah,
it.
that's, will get picked up. But some of them will just be out there for,
Forever.
Yeah, and what I do is on our property,
uh-huh,
they will disappear.
okay.
All right.
I know.
Work.
We'll get them. I think for the most part that we've always been.
Yeah.
I usually call it.
Yeah, the county picks them up on the county roads,
Right.
you know. But, and also, I want to end with, you know, I'm glad the election is over, you know. That's it. I'm sure everybody else is pleased with that. But I want to thank everyone that came out to support Joe and myself. And we'll continue with this, you know, good mayor and council that we have now. It's civil, again, business done, and that's the way we're going to work things. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bill?
All right. With the arrest of our tax collector and the investigation complete, I would like to start, possible mayor, a subcommittee that would include our attorney Katrina, myself, another council member, our auditor, and I would like to invite Lori Chesla to sit in on that after she took over some of the work in the office here and she was able to see what had happened. I would like this committee to set up meetings with our CFO, Jenny, whoever, to set up new cash controls, also to check out the computer system. This computer system, there should be no way that someone can go in and change settings and do stuff and cause problems that we have had happened to us. I think new cash auditing controls, procedures should be put in place, and that's why I'd like to have this subcommittee get together, if you would allow us to do that, and to get us back on the right track so township doesn't have this happen to us again.
Sounds like an excellent idea to me. It's something we can,
Yep, you're allowed to
Do
create
that.
subcommittees.
okay. All right.
Right. And I have one more thing. I'd like to also congratulate Joe and Lou. It's great working with you guys. If the town only knew how much work you guys put in behind the scenes, it's amazing. And I'm proud to work with you guys. And that's all I have.
You just have to pick another member to be on the subcommittee with Bill.
Anybody willing to be on that subcommittee? Mr. Polito? Okay. Do we need any kind of
Nope,
motion for that?
nope, you're the mayor, you get to make the
There
subcommittee.
you go. Sounds good. Yourself and Mr. Polito. Talk yourself right into something else.
That's all right, right here.
Joe?
Well, I don't, as general rule, I don't talk about politics or elections up here. I'll just say that we had a large turnout this year. I'm glad everybody exercised their right to vote. The weather was stinky, but people still turned out, so I applaud all of you. We mentioned the ribbon cutting at the new storage facility. Check it out. I think the architectural treatment is very nice. I think it's a nice facility. I think it's a good addition to Lopatcong, and both the mayor and I sat on the planning board. There were a lot of issues to be worked out there, and I think the planning board and the developer worked closely on that, and you can see the result. The chief didn't mention this in his report. He sponsored a community forum on October 25th, and the mayor and I both had a chance to demonstrate our law enforcement prowess in a tactical vehicle, and neither of us will be going to the police academy in the near future, I'll tell you that. But I wish more people would take advantage of this in the future. There was an information center session that explained who in law enforcement is responsible for what. It involves the prosecutor, involves the police, state police. We had some fun with some interactive games about law enforcement, and we had a tactical trailer where we could all step in the shoes of a police officer, at least for a few minutes, and understand what a difficult job they have. They have to make instantaneous decisions. This exercise proved it to us.
You can be glad it was only a simulator, because otherwise you'd be looking for a new council president and a new mayor. Neither one of us really made it.
The last thing I have is one of the things we talked about is improving communications. And I'd like to resurrect Council Corner. It's a tab on the website, and it was dormant for basically the 2 years that I served with Mayor McKay. There was a lot of accusations about making it political and stuff. We put it on the shelf. I'd like to bring it back. We'll have to put together some rules to keep it from being political, but I'd like to make it a place where any member of council, mayor or any member of council, could promote an idea, explain a piece of legislation that he's sponsoring or whatever.
Bless you.
I know we only meet once a month. You come here for a few minutes, but that's, I'd like to get more out there, and I think Council Corner is going to be the vehicle for that. So I'd like to get that started.
I have no objection to that.
Good idea.
That's good. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, folks, as I said earlier, it's been a busy 10 months for me. We've got, I personally am very happy with where we're at. Some may be, some may not be, but obviously it's become a very civil board again. We really lost 3 years in this township where we got nothing done. In December of 2012, when I got out, I didn't come to a meeting for 3 months. After that, I was in the back row where Gary and the rest of the crew is tonight. I'm very happy to be back. Glad that the people of this township have entrusted me with being their mayor. As you can see, we've gotten some roads done, and we're going to continue. Red School Lane has not been touched for years. I had one gentleman over here in Morris Park tell me that he's lived here since 1972. His road's never been done. So we got that done. We need to get out to the Lost Hollow section. We need to get out to Fox Farm Road. We're aware of where we need to get. It's not something we can stop. This is going to be an ongoing thing for years, long after I'm out of here, I hope, that they will continue to do these things. I believe, Paul, have we not applied for a $200,000 grant for next year for Red School Lane?
We have.
Okay, and Baltimore Street will be done in the spring?
It will be.
So, just so you know what's coming, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. And again, in relation to the tax collector's office, I put a letter out at the end of June to tell you what I could tell you at that time. It took 11 months. I mean, we knew this, it took 11 months for this investigation. It was like pulling teeth. And we heard, well, it's going to be in 2 weeks. And we heard, well, it's going to be in 2 weeks. And then when it did come out, we were accused of bringing that out right before the election. Well, I can tell you that I don't have the power to call the prosecutor's office or the state police and say, hold up on the arrest until right before the election. That way we'll look. It's just not the way it went down. So that's enough on that. Again, very happy with where we're at. We have a lot of work to do. The one nice thing about getting the two incumbents back is there's not that period of 2 months wasted. Would have been tonight and December. The other two gentlemen that ran for the offices are fine gentlemen. One's a longtime township resident who has been on some boards here, but the people have spoken, and from my standpoint, sitting in this chair, we can just move forward. My congratulations to Lou and Joe both. It's been a pleasure up here for the first year working with them. Part of my decision to run last year was what am I getting into, and when I looked up here what was here, I said I was willing to jump back in. So my thanks to them, and that's it.
Oh, okay. We just have to.
Yes, we have to pass the Autumn Ridge Developers Agreement.
Just approve the Autumn Ridge Developers Agreement and authorize the mayor to execute it.
Motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Yep.
Yep. Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes.
Mayor Menucha?
Yes. Paul?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just to update the council on some engineering projects. As you mentioned, just a little while ago, the 2018 resurfacing program, since the last council meeting on October 3rd, we were able to get all that work done by Tilcon, the contractor. There are some punch list items. I've had some discussions with some residents on punch list items. We've met with Tilcon to go over the punch list items. They have not been addressed yet. As a result of that, I didn't put their invoice on tonight's agenda for payment. We're going to defer looking at that until the December meeting. The hope is that sometime in the latter part of November, this work will be done so that we can put the invoice on and pay that invoice on, I think it's December 5th, if I'm not mistaken. It's our next meeting. So that's where we're at with that particular project. Just for the public's benefit, the roads that we're targeting for next year would be Baltimore Street between the mall and Red School Lane. We're also looking to do Enmore Road and Oxford Road as well, which are over in the Morris Heights area. Those two streets are located between Stelco Avenue and Brakely Avenue. We do have a significant grant application that was recently submitted to the Department of Transportation to get money to pave the rest of Red School Lane from where we ended at Charles Road, extending all the way to Route 57. I'm confident that that particular application will rate well, and that we'll put ourselves in position to get funding for next year. And if we do get the funding, I'm confident that we'll be able to get that project designed quickly and built next year. I'm very confident of that. And we are moving forward with the two sidewalk projects. One is moving a little faster, the one by the high school, and then the other one over by Red School Lane, but we are moving on both of those. And then the second matter I just wanted to bring to the council's attention, the public's attention, we did file a request to lower the speed limit on Belvedere Road in the vicinity of Buckley Hill Drive and Mountain View Road. And in addition to that, we also filed a permit application with the county to change the speed limits, establish a school zone, and seek permission to install flashing school speed limit signs at that particular location on Belvedere Road. They haven't acted upon that, but we're going to be pushing them to try to act on that. Tonight we had a resolution on the consent agenda that allowed you to speak on the importance of this project, and I will get that resolution from Beth and submit it to the county as soon as I can, probably by the end of the week. And then lastly, I'm in the process of actually seeking bids for the flashing school speed limit signs, which are not only on Belvedere Road, those are new installations, but to also replace the ones that are on Strikers Road, which are very old and antiquated at this point. So we're looking to have pricing from contractors by the end of the month. So that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Paul. I'd like to publicly thank you just for your professionalism up here. Having worked with you for 15 years prior to stepping out and coming back, you've always kept me in the loop with everything that was going on with the roads and how quickly we could get them done. Because I think our residents, after, again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but they didn't see anything going on here. And sometimes people got to see some things going on, and with the roads and whatnot, you can see that we're doing something. And if there's anybody here on Dana Street tonight, from Morris Park section, I promise I'll get that road done next year. We might as well have a stone road there. It's bad. So I'll be looking to get that done next year too. But we will do an inventory of our roads and see what we can get done for you. Need a motion to approve department reports?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of bills?
I'll have to abstain from the JMT bill, and just as an observation, when I was going over the bill list, we had a $30,000 water bill. I want to know who was using all the water, and I'd forgotten we get billed quarterly for hydrants, so if you saw that, that was this quarter's hydrant charge.
A motion to approve payment of bills?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Breyer?
Yes.
Mayor Menucha?
Yes. Folks, questions, comments? Chief, you want to give your report tonight? We have our copy up here in front of you.
I have nothing now. Although I would like to just say one thing, just as a reminder to the community and the public, to make sure you're locking your cars. As of last night, we were getting a lot of car burglaries, and they're specifically looking for opportunity. So just pulling on handles. So do yourself a favor, spread it around, just make sure you're locking the doors, the simple things to keep people out of your vehicles.
In regards to that, I had a discussion with the chief on Halloween night. I took it upon myself to throw a couple bags of candy in my truck and ride through the different sections of town, pass out candy to the little kids, not the high school kids, but the little kids. Would park my truck in the middle of the road, get out, give the kids some candy, and just announce that, have a great night, I'm your mayor. We're always talking about being vigilant. When I got home, I started to think that not one person asked me for any kind of an ID. Nothing. I could have been anybody jumping out of that truck and handing candy to kids. So when we talk about being vigilant, maybe I have an honest face, I don't know, but that did cross my mind when I got home. And I just was like, man, not one person asked me for anything, nothing. So there's 8,500 people in this township. I know 8,500 people don't know what their mayor looks like. So again, be very vigilant with everything. If you see something you don't like, call it, please. So thanks, Chief. Folks, questions, comments? Anybody?
Hi.
Are you Laura Richter?
I am.
All right, come on up.
Mayor Mengucci, thank
Yes.
you for having me in Town Council. My name is Laura Richter. I'm the Assistant Mental Health Administrator for Warren County Department of Human Services. And the county, along with Mental Health Board and our local NAMI chapter, is doing a stigma-free initiative for the county. And we're asking local communities to pass resolutions to be stigma-free communities. And what that means can be really anything for you as a community, to looking for individuals in your community to form a task force to be part of stigma-free. And what stigma-free is really for mental illness and substance use disorder. 1 in 4 adults suffer from a mental illness. Many of those also have a co-occurring substance use disorder. And so statistically speaking, there are quite a few of us who could have a mental illness in a room like this. For Warren County, the state of New Jersey is the lowest in suicide deaths, suicide attempts in the United States. Warren County is part of the Highland region, and with us, Sussex County and one other county that I never recall, we do rate the highest in suicide attempts between 10 and 24-year-olds, and it's also with law enforcement, mental health. It's a serious issue. And so we really want to tackle these issues by speaking to our community members, what resources we have here. We do have a lot of agencies and providers in the community that provide mental health and substance use disorders. We do still have a lot of gaps with the department addresses through, with the Mental Health Board and our local advisory council for alcohol and drug addiction. And so Hackettstown has been our first community to pass a stigma-free community initiative resolution, and they've just put up signs today and forming a task force that came from there to here. So I'd like to ask LopatCong if you would be interested in passing that. I do have a toolkit that I can pass. I believe I sent it to Mayor Mengucci, but I could pass it to him as well to send out, and what it would look like. And it could really, and we're as a department are not here to direct you as to what that would look like for you. You've talked about a lot of events that you already have that you can build in a conversation. And really what stigma-free is about having a conversation to let people know what resources are available. The county could be consultant, can help with resources, but really it's you as a community and what you would want for your community and what would be available. So I thank you for your
Well, I would just ask about that. What resources are available? I mean, Lopat has nothing available right now, right?
So in Lopatcong directly, but you're close to Phillipsburg. Phillipsburg does have a family guidance center. There is also People Helping People, Freedom House is an outpatient substance use provider.
I'm familiar with Freedom House.
Yeah, they have that. CARES is out of Washington, but they do have a by appointment Phillipsburg, and they are a recovery support. They don't do clinical, but they do have recovery supports for all addictions, alcohol, drugs, and whether prescription or legal. Family Guidance Center, Omni Health, and Quenyan Associates does mental health. And I think they're looking to do substance use, but they provide transportation. So locally, very close to Lopatcong, they do have a lot of resources. I hope that answers.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Thank
Is this
you.
something we can approve next month, or is it
I
look into it?
could,
You want to get the information to the other guys?
absolutely,
up here?
absolutely. And would I send the email to Beth?
Oh, send it right to Beth.
Beth,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
All right, very good.
All right, Laura.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
for
Nice
your
meeting
time.
you.
I appreciate it.
Yep. In regards to that, folks, just very quickly, I attended a meeting last Wednesday over at Provident Bank, of all places. One of the ladies that works over there had asked me to, if I would join her and people from DASAC. So the only people that showed up were myself and Freeholder-elect Jim Kern. And we were there for an hour and a half, and it was very, very informative. If you don't know what DASAC is the Domestic Abuse and Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Warren County. I myself may jump into that. I'm not going to ask the council for that or anything, but it's a problem. It's a big problem, and you don't realize it until you start to get into it. As you don't realize what the cops go through until you jump into a simulator and find out that if you were a cop, you'd be dead. So it's just, a lot of these things are very eye-opening for me, because you don't, on an everyday basis, you just don't get into what people do. I remember, it goes way back to the 60s, my father was on council here, and I jumped into the DPW truck with him and one of the guys that worked in the DPW. We were out in a snowstorm plowing. You don't know what goes on until you get into that truck to go out and plow. So there are a lot of things that go on a daily basis that you just don't see. And again, being mayor, you get invited to a lot of things, you get involved with a lot of things. It's been very eye-opening for me, and I intend to pursue some things on my own along with Freeholder-elect Kern. So very interesting. So that's it. Laura, again, thank you very much. Yes.
I just wanted to speak because, you know, a lot of those people, to her point, don't even know where to, like him,
Yeah.
don't know where to
Yep.
go. And the fact is, it's true. You know, I'm not involved in anything at that level, but I know a lot of people that have, and they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So having bigger exposure within the community on where people can go when they're faced with either domestic abuse or substance abuse or child abuse or any of these, you know, like just exposure and awareness to the community, it's huge because, you know, if somebody knows where to call, then they might call for help.
Yep.
You know, there's a 10% chance they might.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, again, very, very eye-opening for me. And this lady that asked me, she happens to be on the board. I wouldn't have gone. When she first mentioned this, what the heck is DASAC? Yeah, but I know now, and it's a very worthwhile cause. That's are a lot of these, you know, self-help type things. But you gotta know where to call.
You gotta
So,
know.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes.
Yes, I'm Mr. Strauss. I have a couple items. Number one, I'm a 100% disabled Vietnam veteran. I just received handicap plates for my vehicle, and I live in Morris Park.
Okay.
I'd like the town to put a handicap parking place for me in front of my home. The people from the Key City Diner next to me, they all park in front of my home, and I have to park up the street, and it's difficult for me to get in my home walking that far. So I'd like to be able to park in front of my house, and I'd like a handicap sign put up.
We could do it for the ordinance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we've done that before, so.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll leave us the information as to your exact address and whatnot?
110 South 6th Street.
Gotcha. You good? We're gonna take care of it.
Secondly,
Yes.
all the surrounding towns and township I see have signs say no engine braking for these big trucks.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that don't have it. They come down Route 22, going to 57, and they put those engine brakes on. And it's so loud. Come sit on my porch for an hour, you won't believe it. If they have to use them on that small of a grade, then they need to get a ticket for speeding if they're going that fast, because the grade doesn't warrant it. You don't have to use an engine brake on that little bit of a grade right there, going from 22 to Route 57. You don't need it. But they wind those engines up down at the stoplight, and they come down there and they turn them things on, probably for the diner waitresses, who knows? But I don't need to hear it. And my neighbors who live along there, Avenue A and so forth, they don't like hearing it either.
Yeah,
So you can hear it all the way up to Baltimore Street.
I'm sure.
So I think we should put some signs up. Why do we need the oddballs? Everybody else has it.
The issue, I'm not,
I can speak to that.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, first, that's a state highway, so we're not allowed to put any signs on the
They'll do
state
it if you
highway.
ask them.
Well, the second thing
checked
is,
it out. They will.
those engine braking rules are not enforceable. I represent the Township of Harmony, where one currently exists. They put up
Well,
the
here's
sign.
two things you should do. Ask the state to do them, they'll do them, okay?
They
And
won't
the
put up
county
the
will do them
no
on
engine
Belvedere
braking.
Road. They'll do them, and, because I checked it out. And the other thing is, go to Lower Strikers Road, H&S Trucking, and meet with the owners and tell their truckers to knock it off, because they're the biggest violators.
So that you can do.
All right, that's two things. You need to send your police chief down there, have him do his job, and go talk to him. All right, that's what we pay the chief for, and tell him to knock it off.
That we
And the
can
other
talk
thing
about.
is,
Go ahead.
ask the state, don't put them up.
The problem is, you can't tell people they can't use their engine brake because it's an emergency braking system, so you can't tell people they can't do it. I know they abuse it,
Go
but
to
that's what
Harmony,
we're...
they have an ordinance on their sign.
And it's not legal. I wrote it, I'm their attorney, it's not legal. They put it up because the
You should have wrote
residents...
it.
They asked me to, and we did, because Hope had
Well,
one. They said,
you do also.
well, we can't put it on a state highway, though. They won't let
But the
us.
state will do it.
And the county told Harmony to take that sign down.
Well, whatever, they're still there.
I know they're still there.
Everybody has them.
Hope started the problem and put theirs up 20 years ago, and we hear about it in every town. They all want them,
What are
but
the oddballs?
I know. But that doesn't mean we can't
I don't
talk.
want
If we
to
know
like
who's
that.
doing it, that means we can.
Well, somebody needs to do something. Somebody needs to talk to that trucking company.
I don't think that's a problem.
Okay. Because I know the chief grew up across the street from me. And I know he's heard it. And his father hears it all the time, and he drives for that company. And he's probably the one that turns the engine brake on. Right, Jason? Wouldn't likely, huh?
No comment, Jason.
I'm not Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Bowden, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
You're coming back because your junk cars haven't been removed yet?
I'm here to compliment the mayor, to council, to the police department, and everybody that was involved with cleaning up Liberty Road, the Salvage Yard. And kudos to everybody, okay? But just like you were saying earlier, if you see something, you say something. So if there's a reoccurrence, who do you say something to? A hypothetical question.
I would start with the
For
zoning
the salvage
officer.
yard.
I would start with the zoning officer. Then if you feel it's not, you can always call Beth.
Okay.
Come see us.
He did.
And
Yeah,
again,
I know. Again.
You guys did a great job, okay? I'm sorry, and my daughter-in-law says thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for your patience. Nothing ever happens fast, not fast enough.
No, you did a good
So,
job.
anyone else? Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Well, we live in Uniontown, lower Uniontown Road.
You want to state your name and address, please, and step up to the podium?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
So, we're Laura and Paula Ricardo. We moved to Lopatcong last July. We moved into 674 Uniontown Road. And Ella Shaw's old house. And, you know, basically to get to our home, you have to go up Lower Lowe's Hollow Road, right after that R&R toy factory place. So, we've been facing, never knew this when we bought the house, but we did. And you know what, we love the home and we love where we live. So what, we have a survey done of our property, and basically if you take a look at our survey, which it's kind of hard to show to you, but I could basically present it to you this way, is that, if you want to help me with this, we bought 6 acres of land up here on the mountain, and in order for us to go up to our house, we go over here, we go into our house over here.
Okay.
Okay. And we have a finished road, which the Department of Public Works takes care of up to here, okay? And we've dealt with the police officers multiple times over the course of the year that we've been living here, is because the house, this property right here, should be condemned, okay? Regardless of that, there's no roof, when we bought the house, we didn't even see it, okay? Because there was all kinds of brush. We've had multiple problems with this neighbor, but that's not our big problem.
Are they living there?
They're still living there. The house,
With no roof?
No roof, windows. We've dealt with Rossi. He knows me personally over this past year. And I've never dealt with the police officer. Yes. I've never dealt with the police. I've had animal control, whatever. So long story short, we've learned that's a township issue, okay? So this property should be condemned, but that's a township issue. The fact is that we own this property over here, okay? So we've got wrapped around. This is a cliff. If I walk across over here, and I spoke to Ella Shaw, the woman who owned the house, she was a neurologist, she's never even walked over here. So much garbage on the side of the property. There's batteries dug in, file cabinets and tires. There's an old car. Okay, there's an old car.
All that's the good stuff.
It's my property, but the thing is that this is a public road. It's supposed to be a public road.
This is Lower Lowe's Hollow.
Lower Lowe's Hollow Road. And, I even thought about trying to buy this property just so I can get access to the other half of my property to clean it, because it's an environmental hazard. The woman over here won't let me cross it. I can't go up here because it's a cliff. And the only thing I'm asking for the township to help me out with is to obtain clearance to the other half of my property,
so we can clean it,
so I can put a dumpster in to clean the other half of the property. If I have to financially support it, I don't mind helping find, but I have a tax advantage because I have woodlands property. But part of my woodlands assessment is to clean the property and maintain the property and do improvement to the woodlands. I can't get access to it because she barricades this whole road with trash. And I could show you pictures of trash. I mean, like, you walk up there in the summer and it smells. I have vultures in the yard, and it's not, like I said, I love my home. I've done so much, we've spent so much money trying to improve the land and, done a lot to the land.
Has Mr. Rossi been out there?
Multiple times, and so has the officers, even the police officers have agreed that it violates many public codes.
Can you, what's the condemnation process?
My last conversation with Rossi was, he told me to come here.
Okay.
And talk to the council. And talk, you can have a copy of it, there's 3 of them. He said, talk to the council, because I just want to have access to get to the dumpster and to clear the trash in my yard.
That's the other side.
This is just like a couple pictures of it.
There's a couple pictures. Why we do the access to them.
And the police have been up there, like, I never called the police my entire life, but they've been up there just like multiple times over the past year because of problems with her. She makes all kinds of accusations in my family, and which are erroneous and false, and I just really, we just moved in, a year ago July. And,
This is partial of it.
we're just asking
Last year we
for,
took 3 dumpsters just from the front.
yeah, we seriously spent thousands of dollars taking trash out of our existing property that we bought, like, tide, like, bad stuff, and,
It was an old apple orchard, I assume the former.
it was a beautiful apple orchard. If you're just trying to, like, restore the land and make it like a nice thing, it's tit for tat, and like I even saw a lawyer and they told me to take her to Supreme Court, and I'm like, I'm not going down. You're like, they'll probably get an ordinance of her from Supreme Court is being judgmental positive towards us, but they'll never be enforced.
And she's living in a house that should be taken down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I mean, there's no windows in the house, the roof is caved in, there's like, it's brush overgrown all over the place. In fact, she had the police officers up there because we hired a company to come in and brush hog according to our property line. So they kind of went over into her lot a little bit, you know, and we didn't hire them to do that, but there was a little bit of a tip for tat for there. We apologize. It's just clearing out brush and like, which is actually a violation against the public
I would
code.
suggest, you know, Katrina has some title work that she can review, and then maybe Brian and I take a walk up there, get some pictures and evaluate how we can get this road clear.
Let me know where you're going. Let me know where you're going. Sure.
And like I said, we'll be happy to do from our standpoint, if you find it. We have the equipment that can help do brush hogging this across. If we go up anywhere near half of our property, like up to our property line, she comes out like screaming at us. We hired a land surveyor to do that. That the cops were up there that day, and she made all kinds of. She was actually physically like staring at them, taking pictures of the land surveyor. I mean, I paid this guy $125 an hour to just lot line my marks.
So Paul, you're willing to go up and take a look?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we'll do that. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say, look at it, but I mean, it seems to be a lot of violation. There's not only the property maintenance and so on, but there's an encroachment on a municipal
Well, that's
street.
what I said to Paul, that she was in rent foreclosure last year. The town almost took that property last year. She paid it at the last minute, but I have the title work, so at least we can prove that the street in front of her house is public. Well, I have the title work, so we're just gonna confirm all that. Paul's gonna go over.
Thank you.
So we almost owned it.
And you know what? I would love to try to buy that property ultimately if something ever happens, because it's inside of our property, and we'd like to do an outbuilding there if it ever came to that.
We can certainly go take a look at it and see what we can do for you. And the other individual, quite frankly, they're living in those conditions, that's not.
I think she probably needs help, but, you know, I don't know, you know, every time we try to speak to her, it's like trying to speak with a...
We'll take a look at it, make sure we have a phone number for these individuals, and
Thank you.
so we can at least contact you and see what's going on.
Thank
All
you.
right, anybody else, questions, comments? Seeing none? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Folks, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.